Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Crypto Starship. Its mission, to explore new technologies, to seek out new life in the crypto universe, to boldly go where no blockchain has gone before.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Crypto Starship podcast. This is Derek.
And this is Ethan.
Eric is not able to join us today, so it's just Ethan and I. We're going to be talking about Cindicator today, which is a AI and crowd intelligence trading tool. Really excited, but before we do that, how's it going, Ethan?
It's going great, Got my coffee here, waking up to this wonderful Denver morning.
Awesome. Yeah, I just landed in Bali not too long ago after a couple conferences in Asia. Got a couple more conferences coming up, but looking forward to catching some sun and catching some waves. So one of the recurring themes in this podcast is we have a couple experienced crypto investors / traders, and Ethan is here kind of learning along with us. He's championing the people who are, they're kind of getting started in crypto and they're developing the skills from scratch along with us in this podcast. Ethan, how's your journey been over the last few weeks in learning about crypto and kind of on-ramping into this world?
It's been so great. I've truly enjoyed learning so much about this world. The crypto universe is expanding so rapidly right now, and I find myself kind of lost in it a little bit, floating around here in the space, checking out the galaxies and these solar systems. But I really feel after doing this for a little while now that I've come to grasp it just a little bit more, where I'm talking with my friends at work that have no idea about it, and I can sit there and talk to them about what an ICO is and what is blockchain, and just like our episodes I can really take that and talk to them like I'm this big investor, this big trader, this analyst. It feels great when people come to me and they're like, "What are you doing? What is this podcast?" And when they hear cryptocurrency, all they hear is Bitcoin. And that's how I was a month ago. And it comes so far. It feels really cool.
That's awesome. Well, looking forward to following along with your journey as we cover more and more topics and you get deeper and deeper into this stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. It's just, exponential learning curve here. There's so much to take in, but I'm ready for it. That's why I signed up to pilot this ship.
Sweet. Well, that's a good place to transition into today's topic. So we're talking about Cindicator. So what Cindicator does is they take crowd intelligence and they apply artificial intelligence to it. So they're able to find out who are the best people in the crowd at very specific things and increase the weighting or decrease the weighting of those people's opinions about specific things. And that's just one of the examples of the AI that they're applying to this wisdom of the crowds idea. And so they're working with thousands and thousands of people. I think over 50,000 people. Yuri gives the exact number in the interview. Over 50,000 people on creating trading signals for investors in the cryptocurrency space and even outside the cryptocurrency space. So this is a really interesting project. It has a very strong following in the crypto space, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
I'm super excited to see where this goes. As I've said in previous episodes, I like when people build off the blockchain in creative ways and are open to expanding, not just jumping in to try and make money. These people are coming in with Cindicator to entering in the market, helping with these data analytics and indicators powered by this hybrid intelligence, right? But there's room to grow in so much more in so many different areas. So I'm just really excited to see where this ends up in 2-3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the things I really liked about this conversation with Yuri is it wasn't just about his product. We went into artificial intelligence and quantum computing and the theory behind wisdom of the crowds and the philosophy behind decentralization and books we've read. Like, it was a very multifaceted conversation. So I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Oh yeah. The passion, you can tell both the passion behind it. He's just, our world is we have to come to accept this artificial intelligence, and what does it mean, and how do we evolve with it? And it's great. This is a great interview.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's jump in.
All right, here we go. Let me put down my drink and I'm ready for takeoff.
Welcome aboard the Crypto Starship. Warp engaged, maximum velocity.
Everyone, I'm here at the Token 2049 conference in Hong Kong, and I'm sitting down with Yuri from Cindicator. How are you doing today, Yuri?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For listeners who aren't familiar with Cindicator, can you give us an overview of what the project is?
Sure. What we do, we are developing the platform for effective decision making, mostly for investment decisions and for asset management. We combine the collective intelligence of financial analysts, humans, and artificial intelligence to make these decisions more and more effective.
Awesome. So when you say you combine their intelligence, how does that actually work? How do you take, say, artificial intelligence, financial analysts, data scientists, like you have a whole pool of different people, different data. How do you actually combine that into a decision?
We have a platform where financial analysts, at this moment, there are about 85,000 financial analysts. They are answering different questions about the traditional and crypto market. So those are different events that are expected. Those are the questions of the price-related questions of priority and the risk factors, different types. So they are answering these questions. We are collecting the data and the statistics of their answers for 2 years already. We have quite a big data set with these data points, and they are analyzed by our machine learning algorithms. And based on these statistics, our pipeline of machine learning models is enhancing the accuracy that is taken from these crowdsourced predictions. There are also, this is the main technological workflow that we have in production at this moment. There are also some other beginnings that are just on a very early stage of their life. So they are not so technically advanced at this moment and not so much structurized yet. They are working in our internal communication system, which is run in Discord. There are a number of chats where we split it, some active and constructive contributors of our ecosystem and community into different tracks, depending on their expertise and the desire of area of the questions that they can and will to contribute their mental assets. And at this moment, it is run in a direct communication form in chats. So they are writing the ideas. These ideas are formalized into tasks in a project management system where they then vote on these tasks. And this number of votes, they are setting the priority for us to work, to choose on what to work next. So these are just the small beginnings of the collective decision making in terms of the company strategy and how to facilitate the growth of the ecosystem in which these contributors are living.
Awesome.
In future, it will evolve and be more automatic. Like there will be voting on the different questions, strategic decisions, and also decisions of investment into some project and to supporting the project collectively.
Got it. So I've seen some of the predictions that Cindicator makes, and usually the way I've seen it, the format is on the day, May 19, 2017, on the exchange, GDAX, USD, BTC settled at $12,000. What's the probability that it'll hit $14,000 by XYZ date on the same exchange, right? So first question is, how many people are actually involved in making that percentage prediction? So you said there's 85,000 people on your platform. How many people are typically voting for you to arrive at that number? And how much of that number, let's say it's a 65% chance that it'll hit $14,000, how much of that number comes from artificial intelligence and how much of it comes from crowdsourced intelligence? If you could just share a little bit more about how the actual predictions are made.
Yeah, sure. I can say that about on each question, the average between 15,000 people that are answering the question. So the question about how much of that knowledge of the result indicator comes from people and how much from artificial intelligence, this I can say it's hard to measure because both aspects are very essential and important, and there will be no indicator without both of these parts. So it's the merge of these two types of intelligences. So it's the hybrid intelligence for 100%.
Got it. That makes sense. And the people who are participating in the system, are they getting compensated for it, or what's the incentive for them to contribute?
So we are working on the multi-dimensional system of motivation for them. At this moment, the tracks are that, first of all, they get points based on the accuracy of their answers. And the more points they get, the more reward they get by the end of the month. Now we make these rewards with Ether. Quite soon, we're gonna switch this mode and make rewards with Cindy token. The other motivations, our research shown that some of them are motivated by the challenge, by the game. So we're increasing the game mechanics in the user experience. Some of them are motivated by the education, the effect of the increasing of their knowledge and skills in the area. Like we are answering the right questions, we're providing the constant feedback. In this manner, we are improving how they can track the growth of their expertise, like different types of statistics of their growth, graphics, metrics. So we give more and more feedback, and we also are planning to launch educational courses that will facilitate the growth, and that is important part of the motivation. Another motivation which works for the core of this analyst is the feeling and how they identify themselves being a part of the team. So they are token holders, and their contribution make an impact to their wealth. So they're like Nassim Taleb writing the book called Skin in the Game.
I read it, yeah. Very good book.
Yeah, so they have more and more skin in the game. So they are feeling that it impacts their life. We're working on deepening this involvement and engagement into the family of the ecosystem.
That's great. I really like how it feels like you've created a game where people learn more and more skills and get paid while learning those skills.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is Cindicator primarily focused on financial markets, or is the idea that people are going to use these data skills in other arenas as well?
Yes, the idea is that we will evolve a lot, that there is a history, how we came to the stage where we are at this moment. So we started it 3 years ago, and we started from the research of wisdom of the crowds. And we tried that on different areas of the life, like politics, sports, fashion, art, technology, and finance. And after testing some business models, we decided to focus on financial markets because this is the most fruitful ground for the growth of this technology, of this organism. And like if we go to the metaphor of a plant, so this is the first phases of life of this. And when it will mature enough, then we will make some new branches in other areas. I cannot say how much time it will take for this maturing process, but we definitely see the huge potential in all of these areas, in all of the areas of decision making, not only in prediction, but also in decision of what future do we want. So the ecosystem is growing, and the participants will have enough power to express their collective will.
Awesome. For our listeners who aren't familiar with the term wisdom of the crowds, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, there is a book written by James Shuryovsky that was run an experiment where a crowd of people was gathered to estimate the weight of a bull that they've seen. And this experiment was run several times, and the average and they did it in a manner of anonymous, like decentralized and motivated. There were 3 aspects of how they did this estimation. And then there was calculated the average of their answers. And this experiment was run a number of times. And statistically, it's shown that the average of the answer of this crowd was more accurate than the answer of expert in this sphere. And our research was based on this approach. So we used these three main factors, like decentralization of the making these predictions. In this context, it means that they do not talk to each other and they do not cause biases in the suggestion process of each other. So each other is using his own background and his own knowledge and vision of the reality to give an opinion. The idea there was that they are very different opinions and that the mistake cause a true motivation that's a kind of prize. We understood that there could be more strong types of motivation than just money. It is ideological type of motivation, but money is still important. And they must be different, these people. The more difference in these people, the more diversified their background, the more approaches we have. This was the wisdom of the crowd, and we researched that and found out that actually this is not very good approach, and mostly the crowd is not so accurate if you calculate it just calculating the average of the answers. We found out that there are less than 2% of people whom we called super forecasters. There was a book, Super Forecasters, that a similar experiment was run by the end of the 20th century. That if you run these experiments, you can find those people who are more accurate statistically than others. So you can trust them more. Then we found out that there are some people that are kind of super forecasters in this area of questions, and some are super forecasters in those areas of questions. And these groups of people may have some intersections, but those are not the same people. And we started to look for these people about 2 years ago, and manually, and changing the weights of trust to different people based on the ratings manually. As the number of questions evolved and the community of analysts grown, we understood that that's shouldn't be done manually, and we started data scientists. We involved data scientists, machine learning specialists, and started our development of artificial intelligence based on that. And we understood that this is the symbiosis of the intelligence, and this is actually answering one of the main challenges of humanity, the challenge between AI and human being. That there are two ways in these relationships. One of them where we put each other into opposition. Another is collaboration and the symbiotic relationships. In this dimension, our project is giving hope to humanity that we can merge with each other and make our life better, both sides.
That was an amazing answer. Thank you. So the algorithm, the artificial intelligence algorithm, sees how accurate all kinds of different people are and then starts weighing their answers differently based on their past results, not just on an individual basis, but also on the basis of what category of prediction they're making. Is that accurate?
Yes, this, and also what it helps a lot. It helps to extract more accurate knowledge from those predictions that are inaccurate. So it is looking for not only those who are very accurate, not only those who are very experted in this area. Also, it is looking for patterns in mistakes. It is localizing kind of clusters of different type of thinking patterns that are usually moving, they're looking at the goal with some correction. And knowing that there is a pattern in that number of thousands of people, we can take their kind of average and make a correction to that cluster.
Got it. Do you think, so we're having this conversation now in March 2018. The markets have just crashed 75, 80% in the last couple months. Do you think that using a mix of crowd intelligence and AI, we can predict these kinds of really extreme events, or do you think it's more, the fluctuations of 20%? I guess what I'm trying to say is, for extreme events or even potentially black swan events, do you think we'll be able to use crowd intelligence to predict it, or is it by definition, because that's what everyone's thinking is going to happen and this is counterculture to what everyone's thinking, then it's hard to predict? What are your thoughts on that?
This is the goal of our research. This is the goal to create the organism that is more sophisticated and more intelligent than human, just an individual, that will be able to move this border of what it can predict and what is the black swan for it. Like, what types of events are black swans for humans now? They have kind of level of complexity, and the complexity could be infinite, but the border could be moved. And the more you're intelligent are, the more black swans are not black for you anymore. So we are moving the capacity, how it can predict. Like now I can say that this hybrid organism is more accurate than any human. The accuracy is growing. Still, there is a space where the black swans are coming. And I think that the nature of life and this uncertainty and black swans are essential part of life. And they always will be, even after we will evolve into new kind of, when we will live in new bodies and when we invade the space, there will be some kind of new uncertainties that we will have to deal with.
Have you read Homo Deus?
Which?
Homo Deus?
No.
I think you would really
yeah,
like
actually,
it.
I've heard a lot that I will like it, so that I'm sure I will like it.
Yeah. So in terms of accuracy, you guys publish these Medium posts, right? Where you talk about, in the last month, we made X number of predictions, and this is the results we saw. Can you talk a bit about some of the results you've seen so far over the last few months in terms of how accurate the hybrid intelligence is, how it's getting more accurate over time, how traders might be using that information? Just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you just walk us through some of the results you've seen so far?
Yes, sure. I can say that, first of all, we're gonna publish it. We thought about, should we publish the results or not, and we decided that we will do that, and we'll do that quite soon. So stay tuned. And we will do that periodically. The accuracy in general is growing steadily. This is caused by two factors. The one is the number of, I can say maybe that even three, the number of forecasters is growing, their level of engagement is growing, and the models of machine learning that we're testing and putting into production is evolving too. So these are three main factors. I can say that during January and February, while the crash, the accuracy in this period of time was lower than in other 2 months period, many of two, if you look at 2 months, because of this kind of black swan. But at the same time, I can say that in this March, we have developed our first in-life neural network model, which is very different from the other models that we used before. Like, they were all linear. And we did experiments with neural networks before, and they were not as effective as classical linear model, statistical. Now we have come to that moment where neural networks work. And that is caused only because the amount of data that we have collected. So we have collected, now we have enough, our ecosystem has enough experience to be analyzed by neural networks and to be more sophisticated and more accurate. And here we see the backtests. So how we decided it is good, that's the backtest of the model. And the results of this new pipeline of machine learning is very promising, much more promising than what we had before. But still, none of the data scientists can promise anything. It's not the magic ball. And to have some level of certainty and confidence, there always must be forward test. And that's what we are doing now. So the experiments continues.
And so the predictions that Cindicator's making now are based on the neural network results.
The pipeline consists of a number of different models, linear statistics, and on top of them there is neural network that is choosing the models in different situations.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
one of the model.
In order for people to get access to Syndicator's predictions, they have to stake a certain amount of tokens.
Yes, this is the current only way to get access to the products, but not, it will evolve.
Can you talk a bit about how you arrived at designing that staking mechanism and then what potential future models might look like?
It was a number of factors that caused this decision to start. One of them was that this is reasonable for this stage of the internal economy. That we had to, it's much easier to start using the product and not pay for that, not lose the capital, and just to hold it. It's psychologically and emotionally much easier. At that stage where we just opened the access in December, it was the first time to the open audience. It was essential part of growing the collective intelligence in this part of the ecosystem. Our approach to these people is in the changed paradigm. Like it's not, there is no border like in traditional markets, like service provider and client. We are blurring this border and we want to collaborate, and we are aiming to engage them into this collective intelligence. So we are building this community, and this is the essential part of building the community and building their relationships with this type of contribution to the ecosystem. Another thing is that that's good motivation for, it's a good reason for holding tokens. So it's very good for the economy. Like I can say that what we are proud of, we have 40% of tokens that are in circulation being secured by people who are using our products. So I'm not sure, but I think, as I know, that this is the best result for all the utility tokens that exist at this moment. Like 40% of all the tokens are just secured for usage, not for speculations. And that's make difference. And another part that we had to gather feedback and we had to make a survey and make decisions about the price based on some experiments. So that was the kind of 0 point of experiments. Now we're just launching our first customer development and surveys with these people. We are researching who they are, how they satisfied, what they want, how much they would rather and recommend to pay to others. And this knowledge is essential part for the future decisions. And how it will evolve, there are different hypotheses that we all test them. The most obvious is that there will be a way to pay with our tokens. Not to hold a lot, but to pay a bit. For some people, it will be easier. There also will be a moment with exclusivity that still in place. Access will be more and more exclusive. So the value of the indicators has its capacity, and it could not be utilized by infinite number of people. So that could be the reason at some moment that we will launch a competitive level of access. By competition here, I mean all the types of competition. Those could be monetary competition, so that will be auction, but which is not the best way to compete. There will be competition in the level of contribution of the value to the ecosystem. Actually, I forgot to mention that we have answering the question of motivation for the analysts. We already have this as a reward. Top analysts, they get access to the products. Their impact, the value that they contribute to the ecosystem is very big, and we value that, and all the ecosystem take advantages of them, and they must be rewarded highly in another way. So they will always get access in some way to different, even probably layers of decision making.
Awesome. Thank you. So you've shared a couple things that you have planned for the future, improving the artificial intelligence, changing or experimenting with new pricing models. What are some other things you have planned for the future for Cindicator?
Internally, there are future plans for internal evolvement of the ecosystem, and there are plans of the external integration to the ecosystem of digital assets revolution and integrations with others companies. So I can talk a bit about the inside dimension, and then we can move to the outside dimension.
Sure.
So the inside are about growing the number of analysts. We believe that we can grow this number significantly. The current number, 85,000, I think a bit more, has grown organically without any marketing campaign. We are preparing the marketing for that, and this number will grow. So that will be quite big activity that we are planning. There also will be educational systems. So those will be the partnerships with different institutions that will help us to make different events and activities that will engage more and more analysts into the system. Of course, we're planning to increase the number of experiments in data science to improve the quality of the models. Also, we are planning to structurize the work with community. First of all, those two types of community. The first one is community of traders, those who are taking the biggest risk and those who are currently using our indicators and utilizing the value of them. So some of them are generating profits. They take the biggest risk with their capital and generating profit. So we will work with these people mostly. We're currently working with both of them types, those who are generating profits and those who are losing. Both of them are very important. But we will increase the experience of how to effectively utilize this. So this will be a big part of collective intelligence, this hybrid organism. Another type of community is data scientists. We currently, all of our models that we are testing are tested internally by our employees. We will run a number of challenges that I think probably even this year. Not sure about this year, but that's the internal plan of growing the work with community. There are some other tracks in the communities that we will move from manual mode to more automated. These are inside processes. From the outside dimensions, we see that we hold a very strong position on the market and we feel the responsibility for the process that is happening in the world. And we see the how emerge new types of organizations, like we call it network types of organizations, where we can see not only the hierarchical structure of the company, of the business, but also a decentralized network of people who are giving an impact in the decision making. There are more and more organizations of this type. And this is the new type that just appears right here. And it's all about collaboration. And it's the new type of people and new type of thinking that we believe is responsible for the future of human civilization and the main challenges of humanity. So in this dimension, we are about creating the alliances and joining the alliances with other organizations of this type of thinking and manifesting the values of this evolutionary development and sustainable evolutionary development of blurring the borders and bringing transparency, trust, and security to the people. And this is about the conversation, the open conversation, that we will take a big part.
Awesome. How do you think blockchain technology can help humanity solve some of its more important problems?
I can say that for us, we will manage the resources, our shared resources, with maximum effect and maximum good for the ecosystem. So we will give the opportunity to collective intelligence to decide what is good, what is not good, and what is important right now, what is not, and how to solve the main challenges. What are the main challenges? All of us have to realize the moment of history we are living in, that human civilization is coming to a turning point in the history. We can evolve into a new kind of life being, or we can destroy the civilization. And this will happen just in 30 years or even less. It's happening right now. And we are that kind of generation that is responsible for the life. And all these types of organizations, first of all, are about changing the way of thinking, changing the type of relationships between us, how we make decisions, how we make transactions, how we exchange the values, how we help each other, how we collaborate. And each of the projects that we see is coming from different perspective and optimizing different very important and essential part of our life. So those are both directions, solving and optimizing some of the processes, some local problems of the society. And at the same time, there is a global process where we unite all together and where we all know what we are doing and why we are doing that.
Well, I'm certainly very inspired and honored to be part of this community. Where can people go to learn more about Cindicator?
In the web, lots of things already written. We have website, we have number of channels of communication. We will organize meetups. We already organized them. There will be actually a meetup next week in Vilnius with our top managers. We will, during this year, we will be active on different forums and events. So we will speak, and you can meet us on big events. We will be there. And there will be articles. I believe we are working with media, so there will be more and more information about us.
Fantastic, Yuri. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too. Thank you
Thanks.
for the time.
Thank you.
The Crypto Starship is a production of Starship Media LLC. The contents of the show, including our videos, podcasts, and our website, are provided for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investing, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any financial, investing, trading, or life decisions based on our show. Understand that investing or trading in digital assets has potential risks involved. Before investing, make sure to do your own due diligence and consult with a professional financial advisor.